All right, my shitty public pretenders part 3. All right, so Officer Brian Valenzuela and Officer Jonas. Officer Jonas claims that they just need to sign some pieces of paper so I can have my car back. So they're going to do that on the date that we set up to fill out paperwork and fill out a report about what happened in the Longmont Hospital, as well as the threats that officers had been ignoring. So, that's not what ended up happening, though. Instead, Officer Jonas had lied to me outright. She wasn't interested in taking my report. She was interested in preventing me from making a report. Officer Brian Valenzuela, I had agreed to turn myself into him on the 29th after my court with whoever it was that I was supposed to have my papers served about, because I never got to actually see those papers. They handed them to me, apparently. I barely remember it, but it was while I was too fucked up to even read it. So they claim they put it on the windowsill and claim they put it in my book bag, and you know what? It wasn't in either one. They outright refused to allow me that information. They did not serve me with the warrant or with the protection order. Now, I ended up getting a different public pretender in, well, all right, let's start off with the 4 assaults in Boulder. When Amanda Jonas had claimed that she was going to finally see me, Peaches wanted to go in with me, but she couldn't because she was afraid of what would happen to her son if she did. It's pretty fucked up, ain't it? So I had to go in there alone, and it was Officer Amanda Jonas, the Secret Service, and a whole bunch of other fucking officers, and just me. They were using intimidation tactics to prevent me from being able to defend myself or show them what was going on. Now, I started pulling evidence out of my bag for them to take a look at. They weren't interested in anything I had to show. They were interested in framing me, and that's it. Framing me for the Bollingers. Now, for me, for over a year and a half by that point, I'd been trying to make a report, and every officer had done everything in their power to prevent me from doing so. In addition to officers lying on police reports, lying in court, Officer Brian Valenzuela wasn't the only one. Those officers in Natalie's case are criminals. What they did is criminal. It is against the law. So Officer Jonas, instead of taking my report like she had said she was gonna, the Secret Service gets a hold of me first, and they basically clear me on the spot. I explained to them why it is that I did what I did. I did it to try to expose what was going on. Now, Amanda Jonas didn't write that in her report, neither did Officer Brian Valenzuela. Do you know why? Because they weren't interested in the truth. They were interested in slam bam thank you ma'am. They fucked me up the asshole with no lube. Now, the Secret Service should have recorded that. Brian Valenzuela should have recorded that. At every point in time, all of this should have been recorded by the police. But they didn't have to, because there was nobody else there with me. So they weren't going to do their jobs. There was nobody to make them to. There was no pressure for them to do so. And the way that I had been painted by the media and by the Boulder police, yeah, they're not going to be on my fucking side. Are you out of your goddamn mind? But if someone was there, there's a possibility they might do their fucking job. So, I got assaulted 4 times in the Boulder County Jail because Officer Amanda Jonas, instead of taking my report, she writes down on it that she didn't take the report due to arrest. Yeah, that's right. She arrested me for another county. They had coordinated to make sure that I couldn't have an honest day in court, including writing their opinions on pieces of paper that are court documents instead of the facts. Your fucking opinion doesn't matter. You should look at the fucking facts. So, I missed my court date in Chapel, Nebraska, or in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, for breaking the computers, and I did break those computers. Between me being framed for things that I didn't do and getting away with it because they put drugs into me, and me doing something to defend myself from those actions and from that immoral bullshit. It's not just immoral, it's illegal as fuck. Anybody who thinks that is okay, you deserve death. That is not a fucking joke. You don't deserve your rights if you are willing to let my rights be trampled. Because these are our rights. If the rules are different for me than they are for you, then fuck you. I hope you choke on a chicken. So I had multiple different public pretenders in Arapahoe, which is where I was transferred. I was supposed to have court on the 29th. I was prevented from going to court on the 29th. I was in transit between the Boulder County Jail, where I was repeatedly assaulted over a 4-day period, and Arapahoe County Jail. They did everything they could to prevent me from going to that court date, where first of all, it was illegal. It was illegal. But getting the police to take a report without someone going in with me is impossible. I have been explaining this since before Natalie was killed. So then I get this woman attorney who is supposed to be my attorney and repeatedly doesn't show up to court. Her name is Pamela Carty. So Pamela Carty is trying to get me to just plead out. If I plead out, then it makes what these people did okay. It makes it so that what these people did, they can get away with, and the slander in those court documents gets to stand. I'm not okay with this. I need these son of a bitches to actually do their fucking job. So she brings in her boss to intimidate me with her. This I am not okay with, and this is where we started having issues. I was prevented from having a court-ordered phone call. I was treated like shit for asking for it. I was assaulted. I was put on suicide watch for speaking out against an officer. Multiple officers, matter of fact, in the jail. And the other guards took part in hazing and harassing and ultimately even assaulting me for speaking out. Doing everything they could to punish me for speaking out. Every single roommate that I had in Arapahoe County Jail will vouch for the fact that every day and every night I was trying to get an officer to come take my report. But they all outright refused. They teased me and picked on me and harassed me and refused me basic fucking services like a goddamn blanket. So, Pamela Carty, she doesn't show up for a few court dates. And then Pamela Carty doesn't show up, and neither does her investigator the day before court. And then she blindsides me with some bullshit. Now, I've already gone to 7 court dates in Arapahoe County by this point. And this is court date number 8 when she was, or court date number 7 where she was finally supposed to show up. Now, this is the part where I get to show evidence. Except Brian Valenzuela had stolen it, and Pamela Carty had refused to get that evidence. She didn't want to do any work. She wanted to railroad me just like the DA. These people went out of their way not to take my report, not to press charges against any of those who victimized me, and to pretend like they were the victims. Pamela Carty is a world-class piece of shit, and she has no business being in the public pretender's office. Now, she came in on that first court date we were supposed to have together. She didn't show up. She had a lady show up just about 5, maybe 10 minutes before I was supposed to leave for court and tell me that Pamela Carty isn't going to show up, so it's some guy who's going to help me out. So this is literally my 7th public pretender just in Arapahoe County. And this guy tells me that, well, I found out later that after 35 days, if they haven't had this specific hearing, that they have to drop the charges. Well, this is well after the 35-day mark. The evidence that I was trying to show, they have not even tried to get or collect. Pamela Carty pretended like she got into a car accident. And this guy's telling me, well, we can't show anything in court, so you have to do something today. You either have to sign this piece of paper or we have to proceed. And I'm like, well, we need to get the goddamn evidence, you lazy piece of shit. But he's not going to do that. He spends the whole fucking time that I'm in court trying to pressure me into signing this piece of paper. Well, that's the thing. I needed an attorney on my side, not the other side. This guy was a piece of fucking shit. And the things that he and Pamela Cardi pulled are fucking immoral. So the next time I see Pamela Cardi, she's there with one of her supervisors, and they're busy there badgering me, harassing me, and fucking threatening me. Because I need an honest day in court, and they're not willing to do their fucking jobs. Meanwhile, I've been assaulted by the cops. The cops tell me that it's Pamela Cardi's job to investigate or do something about any assaults against me. But she's not willing to do so. She says it's not her job. So they got the professional standards unit who doesn't do their jobs either. See, these guys are police officers who are protecting other police officers. Obviously, they're not going to do their fucking jobs. Let's investigate ourselves and find ourselves absolved of any wrongdoing. So, Pamela Cardi, on court date number 8, she shows up and she tells me that I should plead guilty to this particular crime. But she lets me know literally right before court that she's not going to do her job. She lets me know right before court. We have a new judge. We're already in the courtroom, and she's letting me know that there's a warrant out for my arrest, something that she, as my attorney, was supposed to have taken care of. So she knows that I can't get my disability back if I have a warrant out for my arrest. So I'm having a panic attack. I'm ready to plead guilty to this shit so I can get back to fighting these son of a bitches and trying to get an honest goddamn day in court. Well, Pamela Cardi ain't going to have none of this. So what she does, even though I've tried to fire her and the judge absolutely refuses, and the judge knows that this woman has not done her job, and I am voicing my opinion about Pamela Cardi not doing her job, Pamela Cardi walks over to the prosecutor, says something to her, and the prosecutor tears up the piece of paper that is supposed to allow me out of jail. I needed to not be blindsided by this stuff at court. So then, I have to worry about my vehicle being stolen. It's already an impound. And the cops have done everything they can to try to destroy evidence. So I'm worried about my vehicle, especially after the way that they played it off when I was in Longmont with those officers. So Pamela Cardi, October 18th of 2018, on my birthday, we finally get another court date. I'm supposed to be released on this court date. Pamela Cardi lets me know that there's no longer a warrant for my arrest. That was in Larimer County. So, we proceed, and I plead guilty so I can get out that night. Well, it turned out Pamela Cardi had lied to me outright. That warrant was not taken care of. And I didn't get released for my birthday. Not only that, my money. The reason that I was going fucking crazy is because there's no way in hell I could fucking afford to be falsely accused. This has literally cost me thousands of dollars that I don't have. It cost me an average of $1,400 a month to be falsely accused. My disability was only $700. And then people want to be pissed off at me because I call them out on their bullshit. So Pamela Cardi lied to me that day, and just the night before, her and her fucking buddy, her partner in crime, aka her boss, came in and basically did everything that they could to pressure me into lying in court in order to be set free. Basically, to absolve them of their wrongdoings by lying outright in court. They coached me on what to say, and although I argued with them every bit of the way, and they agreed with all of my arguments, they weren't willing to do anything about that. Fuck this goddamn country. So I went into court, and I did what they coached me to do, because they weren't willing to do their jobs. At least I could be let free. At least I could go get my vehicle and get my money out for my disability and be able to try to fucking defend myself. But no, that didn't get to happen. And although that very same judge who knew that I was not satisfied with their work, who knew that I had tried to fire my lawyer for not doing her job in just the previous court date on the 15th of October, only 3 days earlier. Yeah, this judge fucking went right for it. She knew exactly what the fuck was going on, and she went for it anyway. She knew it was wrong, she knew it was immoral, and she knew that it's not how I felt. She also knew that she was protecting people who had done wrong. People who she sees. People who she works with. And that's the thing. These public pretenders don't want to rock the boat because they don't want to piss off a judge. Fuck judges. Fuck cops. Fuck lawyers. And fuck the goddamn Bollingers. Now also, every one of my pieces of paper as far as protection orders go are all for people who are predatory towards me, like Ken and Leah, Kara Miles, Rose, Alicia, Danica. These people were predatory towards me. There's a lot of stuff that's important to remember about going on in this country. Like, if you have no money, you have no rights. People can do whatever they want to you, and they will. When their daddy rapes them, they'll come after you because you're broke and they can get away with it. They'll come and harass you. They'll pick on you. They'll bully you because they can't bully their daddy who actually did it. So, Pamela Cardi, she's a world-class piece of shit who lied to me repeatedly. I should have had an advocate who understands autism. And if I was to pick somebody to do that, her name is Tamara. And the woman in Sydney, Nebraska, Jen Beebe, she's Tamara's replacement. Tamara knows about autism. Jen Beebe doesn't know shit. She's the one who had me committed for the police. See, I'm suicidal for a reason. It's because I'm punished and I'm not allowed to defend myself. What those officers did was immoral. What Officer Cody Selhorse did was immoral. And, well, something's got to give. People keep telling me pretty words like you got to love yourself and you got to do it all yourself. Really? Because the Bollingers had a lot of help framing me, and I had shit for help proving that I'm innocent. I had 0 people who went in with me to the police station to force them to take my report in Colorado. And the one person who did in the state of Nebraska, Molly Smith, well, nobody's going to help her out either. Who's going to stop her from being assaulted? She still has to live in that area. So, my public pretender in Larimer County, which is where I was transferred, she wasn't willing to do her job either. Now, mind you, this entire time, they're just trying to keep me tied up in court so they don't have to look at anything that I have to show. And if they don't have to look at anything that I have to show as a homeless person, eventually I'm going to start losing things because it's tough to keep anything when you're homeless. They already knew this. Fuck America.